What's going on, bottom line viewers? I'm back here live. Hopefully this one is okay. It doesn't glitch, it doesn't freeze. Hopefully we're good to go. The establishment is not going to hold us back from doing this live stream. I promise you that, okay? We are back live. Hopefully it's working. And please give me a thumbs up if it is working. Thank you guys. All right, so I'm going to continue my breakdown of free agency as we see these live signings. Now, there hasn't been a whole heck of a ton. I have yet to break down Larry Ogunjobi to the Bears, and we just got information on the contract. 3 years, $40.5 million. Big deal. All right, 3 years. $40.5 million. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Thank you guys. Please, 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 because this is the second stream, I would appreciate it so much if you Gronk spike the like button. Share this with your friends. Share it on Twitter. Share it on Instagram, TikTok, whatever you got to do. I want this to be a big stream for us. So let's go. Larry Ogunjobi to the Bears. 3 years, $40.5 million. The Chicago Bears have a piece for the middle of their defensive line. Akeem Hicks, free agent. Eddie Goldman, released. Nichols, free agent. And a new defense under Matt Eberflus means new types and new body types for the defensive line. I'm talking about Larry Ogunjobi, the former Cleveland Brown, the former Cincinnati Bengal, played in the Super Bowl this past year. Actually didn't play in the Super Bowl this past year. He was hurt for the Super Bowl, but he was a main fixture on the defensive line for the AFC champion this season, Larry Ogunjobi. Larry Ogunjobi is a very good interior pure pass rusher. The contract is 3 years, $40.5 million. Now, personally, I think that's a bit too rich for Larry Ogunjobi. Given his inconsistencies in his game, and given his sack numbers being very pretty and up there, but his consistency of getting pressure, his consistency of playing the run hasn't always been there. He's more of a splash player than a rough and rugged and every down, dirty work, get his hands and knees and work type of player, if you know what I mean. He's not exactly a Akeem Hicks type. He's more of the big play defender, the big play sack guy. And his sack numbers are going to look good, but his consistency can come and go. So as long as they can get more consistency out of Larry Ogunjobi, I think this is a good signing. I am a little bit not a fan of the money, but I do believe this is a good fit for this system. I do think Larry Ogunjobi fits this system. We saw him play in a pretty similar system with Cincinnati and put up arguably his best season of his career. I thought he would get quite a bit of money on the open market given his numbers in Cincinnati and given what he was able to achieve. He's always been a high-profile guy, a guy that makes money on the open market because a lot of teams are obsessed with his athleticism and his ability to create pressure and get after the quarterback. And that's exactly what the Bears needed. And obviously, they're going to have to rework their entire defense. And I do like that the Bears are looking to upgrade both lines of scrimmage here early on in this new regime. I think it's very important going into the future to protect Justin Fields. But not only that, but looking to get after the quarterback. After you trade Khalil Mack, you need pieces to be able to get after the quarterback and be able to dominate the line of scrimmage. And that's the way to reshape and retool your team into a new regime. Larry Ogunjobi is a good piece here to work with moving forward. He's also not too old, so that's very nice. And he is in his prime of his career. He's playing his best football he's ever played as of late. So that's a great move for Chicago. Now, like I said, I'm not 100% in love with this move due to the money and due to the inconsistency of the player, but just know that when this player is at his best, Larry Ogunjobi is a very good disruptive pass rushing interior defensive lineman that fits what Matt Eberflus does and is going to be a main fixture for the next few years in this defense. Larry Ogunjobi, 3 years, $40.5 million to the Chicago Bears to be one of their main interior defensive lineman forces entering the future. I'm very intrigued to see what Chicago does, as they've already made a lot of moves to move some money around, trade Mack, get rid of Eddie Goldman. They look to be reshaping and retooling this team. So this is the first move of an addition that they've made, and I think that it's one that fits their defense to a T. Let me know your thoughts on Larry Ogunjobi to the Chicago Bears. All right, so that's the first signing of the new stream. Has the stream been good so far? No glitches, nothing, hopefully? If you guys haven't already, make sure that you do Gronk Spike the like button and notify everybody that was in the last stream. If you're in Discord, please leave the link in the Discord for everybody to rejoin. And if you can, also share it with your friends. If you have a friend that's at work and wants to listen to some signings and some analysis, let them know. If they're at school, whatever, let them know. You know, the Bottom Line View is live right now breaking down the signings. Ladarius says he can't wait for the NFL to come back. Nicholas says, hi, Mitch. What's up, Nicholas? How you doing, bro? Nice to see you, man. What do you think of the Ogunjobi signing? All right, let's take a look at what's going on here. I'm told Jadeveon Clowney will take his time and look at every opportunity in free agency. Several teams are interested. Okay. Some people seem to think that signing Mitch Trubisky is preferable to trading for Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay. We will see. What's up, guys? Thanks for rejoining. Second stream of the day after the Glitch Fest. That was the first stream. Appreciate everybody joining back. Updating you on the signings. We have 4 that are of note. New players on new teams. Alex Kappa, 4-year, $40 million contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. Chase Edmonds, 2-year deal worth $12.6 million to the Miami Dolphins. Mitch Trubisky to Pittsburgh on a 2-year contract. And Larry Ogunjobi to the Chicago Bears, 3 years, $40.5 million. There have been re-signings, like Sam Drip says, the Seahawks, Quandre Diggs, 3-year contract, as we thought would happen. He's back with Seattle as a safety. Important to keep those safeties together in Seattle, definitely for Pete Carroll. Loves his safeties. And then James Conner is back as the running back of the Arizona Cardinals. There have been a few other moves, like Jarvis Landry being released, but not a ton of action so far in free agency. A few moves, but nothing too crazy. Like, the main guys out there are still out there. J.C. Jackson, Allen Robinson, the big names, Von Miller, those guys are still out there. Nicholas says, Mitch, do you think J.C. Jackson is actually going to the Chargers? I do think he's actually going to the Chargers, yes. Lenny says, Raiders going to sign some nobody player to a big contract, like a long snapper. We'll see. Lenny is so negative about his teams, bro. He's so negative. He's a negative Nancy. They call him Lenny the Negative Nancy. But they call me Mitch the Peacemaker. If you guys haven't already, Gronk spiked that like button. We are live for NFL free agency. The frenzy has begun. Appreciate everybody joining. Gronk spiked that like button. If you guys aren't, I actually have started a TikTok. So if you guys like TikTok or on TikTok, you can follow the Bottom Line View on TikTok. I'll be posting some free agency videos that aren't like from this live stream, like new fresh content for TikTok that you will not find on YouTube. So if you want to follow us on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. That would be appreciated. I'm just starting it now, so. Also, it's a different look on camera. I use my phone and stuff, so it's like a slightly different style. If you guys are interested in that, just search up the Bottom Line View on TikTok. You should be able to find the logo. Gabe says, Jags in on many guys, hoping to see some sign. Go Jags. We will see what the Jags do. It's going to be interesting. Second year with Trevor Lawrence and obviously new coach Doug Peterson. Thank everything and everybody that Urban Meyer is no longer the coach. But yeah, we will see. It could be Allen Robinson. I saw Allen Robinson might come back to Jacksonville. Jacob says, bolt up. Are the Chargers getting JC and Hicks? We'll see. We'll see. Nothing as of yet, but we will see. I'm not sure who that is, Daniel, but I will check him out. I'll write him down right here. Guru. I'm not sure with. You Wish says, I want to see DJ Reed and Will Fuller go to the Bucks. Younger and reasonable money. I do think they could add a corner. I would like them to add a corner. That would be nice. Jaden says, thoughts on Aaron Rodgers staying? I think it's the correct decision for both sides. I think Rodgers wasn't going to find a better place to compete, and I don't think the Packers were going to find a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. So I think it's the correct decision for both parties. Now, I will say, my mind immediately goes to what happens with Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love could be traded at some point. How long are you streaming for? That's a good question. However long I want to, I guess, until I get tired. I'm going to say probably till like 3 Eastern time. And then probably what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start making videos. As news comes out, I'll probably just start recording videos. Ladarius says, imagine J.C. Jackson going to the Jets. I highly doubt that, but hey, the Jets have a lot of money, so it could happen, I guess. Sam says, do you think the Eagles can get Deshaun? I don't think they're in for Deshaun anymore. It seems like the Panthers and the Saints are in for Deshaun, and nobody else has really been discussed lately. Seattle was floated out there, but nothing lately. Jacob says, do you think if the Chargers don't get J.C. Jackson, they'll go for Gilmore? Maybe. I think Gilmore has a pretty big market as well, but not quite J.C. Jackson, obviously, due to age. I do think the Chargers are going to go for Darius Williams, is the rumor, if they don't get J.C. Jackson. Brokey, what's up, man? Jaden says they trade Jordan and get a draft pick at the draft. Yeah, I think that probably could happen. Seahawks are re-signing veteran defensive tackle Al Woods. It's a nice re-signing. Al Woods played very well last year. Sergio says Jackson to the Steelers or the Chargers. I don't think the Steelers. I'm not sure if you're a Steelers fan, bro, but I don't think the Steelers. I think the Chargers. I could see the Bengals. Who else? Who else? The Colts, maybe, if they want, but they have lots of money, so it could happen. Texans is not going to happen. Sorry, Daniel. There's a filter on TikTok that makes you choose a quarterback, tight end, defense, wide receiver, 1, 2 from every team. So, like, randomly choose one team. You should do it. All right, Daniel, I will look into that. Vaughn Knows says, what do you think about Kyler Murray and the Cardinals? I think that it's at least something to think about. But I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's just stirring up drama to get paid. I don't think he's doing anything more than that. I don't think he actually wants to leave. I think he's just trying to get some leverage for a contract, ultimately. Can't Get Right says, Judon out here recruiting Allen Robinson. I saw Judon tweeted at Bobby Wagner, which I thought was hilarious. He's like, yo, Bobby Wagner, come to the Patriots. Jaden says Rodgers or Brady? Give me Brady all day, every day, bro. Herbert or Burrow? I know that Burrow's gotten a lot of hype recently, but I would still take Herbert. Do the Eagles have a lot of money? They have a decent amount of money, as far as I know. Tyler's World says, hey, I'm back. Will Jarvis go back to Miami? Highly doubtful. I guess it could happen, but I think it's doubtful. So the teams left for Jimmy are the Colts and possibly New Orleans if they don't land Watson as a fix. Yeah, I would say that makes sense. Maybe Carolina as well. Jaden says, or he already said that. Daniel says Cesaro draft, or Casario. Whoa, Cesaro. I'm thinking about wrestling now. Casario drafted him, and the Texans have a huge need at cornerback. Yeah, but I just don't. Unless they throw all their salary cap on him, I just don't see him going there. I think he's gonna have a lot of options, and I think there's gonna be teams that are in a better situation than the Texans are, like the Chargers, for example, who have more money than the Texans and are more appealing than the Texans. So I just think it's probably very doubtful that that actually happens. Jacob says, by the way, just saw your channel today. Just subscribed, bolt up. Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate that, man. If any of you guys are new, let me know, and I'll definitely shout you out. But would be appreciated if you Gronk spike that like button and subscribe if you are new. Gronk spiking the like button definitely helps this video. The algorithm, people find this video. I already did a live stream earlier today, and it was glitching and pausing and crap, so YouTube is already on my back today. So if you guys could help me out, it would be really appreciated. Daniel says, Mitch, have you posted a mock draft? No, I have not posted a mock draft yet. I will get there once we get there. I'm usually much more into free agency than I am the draft. That's just the way I am. Plus, there's certain creators that only cover. I think I'm better at covering people in the NFL because I know, pat myself on the back, I know like every player. So I'm better at analyzing players already in the NFL because I cover the NFL. But so there are people that are draft analysts that cover it all the time, you know. So I'm more of a casual NFL draft. I'll give my takes closer to the draft, but I won't necessarily go all in on it like I do free agency. That's just the way I am. That's, I think, fits me better. Lenny is a new subscriber, he says. Okay, we have a new signing. New signing. All right. Washington Pro Bowl guard Brandon Scherff intends to sign with the Jags. Okay, let's see if we get the money here. Colts hired Reggie Wayne as their wide receiver coach, by the way, if anyone cares. I just want to see if the money is out there for Brandon Scherff, and then we'll break it down. All right. Finalizing a deal with five-time Pro Bowl guard Brandon Scherff. Doug Peterson is in the building, is in and building the trenches for Trevor Lawrence. It says My Sports Update. Jason says, who do you think the Ravens will get in free agency? I don't know. I would assume they're going to get a right tackle. Don't know who. I proposed maybe Morgan Moses. Defensively, I would like to see them get a linebacker. Like Bobby Wagner would be awesome. But maybe a safety as well. Okay, let's break down Brandon Scherff. I'm not sure the money. It might come out a little bit later. That's just minute details. Who cares? We know he's really good, so does the money really matter at this point? It only really matters for players that aren't really good. You know what I mean? All right. The Jacksonville Jags are protecting their franchise quarterback. Brandon Scherff signs with Jacksonville. Doug Peterson gets his man. He's building up that offensive line like he had in Philadelphia for his young quarterback. Trevor Lawrence now has a all-pro caliber, Pro Bowl, multiple Pro Bowls, 5-time Pro Bowler, 5-time Pro Bowler. Brandon Scherff has signed with Jacksonville, and this is, I think, a very good move for Jacksonville. I didn't really see Scherff on the radar here for the Jags, but considering all the moves and all the free agents that they have on the offensive line, especially Andrew Norwell at the guard position, they had to make a move to replace him and then upgrade from him. And Brandon Scherff is an upgrade. He is an absolute beast. He's one of the elite players at his position. He's still playing at a very high level, and he deserves a big contract for his recent play. I think that Brandon Scherff is pretty much a do-it-all guard who is a can't-miss signing. I don't really care what the contract is, what the money is. He is one of the best at his position, and he will come into Jacksonville, and he will make them better up front. Whether it's in the running game, in the pass game, pass protection, run blocking, it doesn't really matter. The guy could fit any O-line, any system, power blocking, zone blocking. He's just really, really good at his job. And when you can get an elite guard, it's going to help you handle some of the elite guys on the interior in the NFL. When you look at the AFC South, you've got Jeffrey Simmons in Tennessee. You've got DeForest Buckner in Indianapolis. The best pass rushers in this division are on the interior. So getting a guard like Brandon Scherff is essential to protecting Trevor Lawrence for the future, but also it's essential really to help you scheme your offensive line and helping to protect all of these different pass rushers on the inside and allowing Trevor Lawrence to step up in the pocket and make throws and not have the pocket collapse on him. You know, he's athletic enough to move around, escape the edge rush, but when a guy comes down from the inside, it's really difficult for quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks that lack experience, to be able to get away from that pressure and to be able to maneuver that pressure, right? So the most essential place to protect your young quarterback is the interior, and that's exactly what Brandon Scherff's going to do. He's also going to help you open up the running game. He's a very good run blocker. He can move. He's a big beast out there, and he's going to be able to really good, pulling linemen and things of that nature where he can get out in space and help a Travis Etienne or a Robinson create some extra yards that weren't there. I think that this is a piece for this offense that is going to definitely help in all facets of their offensive game, run game, pass game. He is a awesome player and one that I think this home run signing, you can't really go wrong with this signing. It's just a really good player for a position of need. It's an absolute home run for Jacksonville. Brandon Scherff signs for a big contract with the Jaguars. All right, there we go. That's our latest signing, Brandon Scherff to the Jags. The Lions have reached an agreement with their safety, Tracy Walker, 3 years, $25 million. Oh, Ted Karras is signing with the Bengals on a 3-year deal. 3-year. Oh, okay. So they got Kappa and Karras. Patriots re-signed Matthew Slater, it looks like. You think Valdez-Scantling could help Mac Jones? Definitely got speed. Definitely a great vertical threat. That's what the offense needs. I'm a little bit nervous about that potential signing just because of New England's track record with wide receivers. And he's not the most well-rounded player, but he is very good at going down the field. So it depends on the money and stuff, but he definitely helped the offense. All right, let's break down Ted Karras to the Cincinnati Bengals. So they got Alex Kappa, and now they got Ted Karras. All right. The Cincinnati Bengals continue to upgrade the interior of their offensive line, signing New England Patriots guard and center Ted Karras to a 3-year, $18 million deal. They already signed Alex Kappa to a big contract, big money, a younger guard, but now they get Ted Karras. Ted Karras is a very good, underrated player. I think he is one of the most underrated players on the market this offseason. Having started for the Patriots on the offensive line this past year, very good run blocker, very intelligent player, and one that can play a multitude of positions. He can play every spot on the interior offensive line, from right guard, left guard, and center, and he has experience playing at all levels. He's also had experience playing outside of New England, inside New England, played just basically every position that they asked him to play and played it at a high level. Last season, he wasn't expected to start as New England brought him in as more of the sixth man in the rotation, but he ended up making his way into the starting lineup and never leaving the starting lineup, actually forcing Michael Onwenu onto the bench as the sixth man in the rotation. So Ted Karras, a very good player. I think that he's a better run blocker than he is a pass blocker, but he is capable in both areas. He's not the most athletic. He's not really going to wow you in terms of his ability to move or anything like that, but he's smart. He's very good in the screen game, very good pulling linemen in the run game, powerful guy. He's an old school guard. And that's the interesting thing to me about both of these signings with Ted Karras and Alex Kappa, is both of these guys are more so of the power blocking scheme. They come from New England. They come from Tampa Bay. Now, both teams use a little bit of variety, especially Ted Karras in New England. They use a lot of variety, but both have been more known for the power blocking scheme of their running games. And that's something that I find very interesting. Is Cincinnati going to format their running game more so to that style? Are they going to keep the zone game, or are these guys that they just feel can fit into any system? That's something that I think is very fascinating to me. But both players are very good players. I think both are kind of underrated, to be honest with you. Karras is a little bit older, but he has plenty of experience, and I think 3 years for $18 million is the perfect window for Ted Karras to maximize Joe Burrow. It's not a contract that's going to break the bank, but it's a very solid starter that you could put at center or guard and could pay off for you in the long run, and definitely upgrades the biggest weakness for Cincinnati, their offensive line. So they potentially have 2 new starters at guard, or at least one at guard and one at center. But regardless of where they put Karras and Kappa, I think this is a much better offense and a much better offensive line for Cincinnati moving forward. Ted Karras, 3 years, $18 million, along with Alex Kappa on a 4-year, $40 million contract for the Cincinnati Bengals. Big boost for Joe Burrow in the interior offensive line. All right, there we go. There's another one. Let's check what's going on, guys. The Jaguars are signing Aluakon. Okay, we got some stuff coming in. And Folo Fatukazi intends to sign with Jacksonville. Ooh, Jacksonville's making some moves. They're making some moves here. Aluakon, Ultras guy, he's gone, baby. All right, we got some more moves for Jacksonville. Let's see what we got here. Folorunsho. Folorunsho Foley Fatukazi. I love how he has like an Italian name, to be honest. Jacksonville. And then we got Aluakon. Very good player. To Jacksonville. Hold on. That is 3 years, $45 million, 28 guaranteed. Wow. And Foley gets how much? 3 years, $30 million. Holy smokes. $20 guaranteed. Wow, okay. Let's break that down now. So we got 2 moves for the defense for Jacksonville. We just broke down Brandon Scherff. 2 moves for Jacksonville's defense. Foley Fatukazi, the defensive lineman of the Jets, and Aluakon, the linebacker for the Atlanta Falcons. All right. Let's roll with that. Let's just set up my thing. Okay. The Jacksonville Jags are upgrading their front 7 defensively. 2 signings. First, Aluakon, the linebacker, the premier linebacker, in my opinion, on the market. Young player and just hitting his peak. Led the NFL in tackles in 2021. A sideline to sideline flowing linebacker that can cover, that can defend the run, that can do everything you ask at the linebacker position for any defense. Now, he played in a Dean Pease scheme in Atlanta last season, and he shined. He was absolutely superb, outplayed Deion Jones, and made plays for Atlanta. Like I said, he led the NFL in tackles last year. This is one of the premier linebackers in the game, but nobody really knows who he is. But let me tell you, he is really, really good. And what I think is interesting about this signing is the scheme familiarity that he will have in Jacksonville. Because Jacksonville's defensive coordinator originates from Baltimore, obviously there's going to be some carryover from Dean Pease, who used to be in Baltimore, to this system. Some familiarity there. I do think that Aluakon is just the linebacker that you want in this day and age in the NFL, because he has that ability to move, he has that ability in space to cover, but he also has that instinct and pursuit to see the ball, get the ball, and to tackle in the open field at a very high rate. So this is just a difference-making move. You've got Miles Jack there as well at the linebacking position, so you've got 2 absolute studs at that second level for this defense that you can now play with and move and use as chess pieces that can do a little bit of everything. I think this is an excellent move. Now, the contract here is 3 years, $45 million. There's 28 guaranteed. It's a good contract for Jacksonville. It's a lot of money, but like I said, this is a very, very good young football player that is just hitting his prime, and that's what Jacksonville's paying for. A linebacker that is just hitting his prime, and to me, he's probably one of the 10 best in the NFL right now. He is very, very good, but not really known. So study up on Aluakon. Excellent player that's going to be in the middle of your defense for years to come, Jacksonville fans. You should be very happy with that. Now, your second signing is Foley Fatukazi. He is an underrated interior defensive lineman. Now, this one, I'm not exactly hyped about the money. I think the money is a little bit much. 3 years, $30 million, 20 guaranteed. Does feel like a lot for an interior run-stuffing defensive lineman. It definitely feels like a lot, but Jacksonville has a lot of money. So I will say that, okay, you got a lot of money, so it's yeah, I like the player. He's younger. He's good in the middle of the defense. He's a great run defender. And this is something I'll say about him. He had a scheme change last year. Robert Saleh came in, and it kind of hurt his game, right? So when you're looking at last year's production, just understand that he'll be playing in a new defense this year. He was actually one of the top graded interior defensive linemen by Pro Football Focus in 2020 and 2019. So in 2 years previous, where he played in a system similar to Jacksonville, he was a lot more productive in that system, as opposed to when he played with Robert Saleh, where he actually played his most snaps, but it's a different system. So very good run defender. He's going to eat up blocks. He's going to be able to get in the backfield, and he's going to be able to make plays in the running game. He's not the best pass rusher, which is where I'm a little bit worried about the money, because usually you don't want to pay these type of players this much money, but understanding that Jacksonville has a ton of it to spend, it's kind of understandable. 20 of it is guaranteed of the 3 years contract. 30 is basically the max, so it's not terrible or anything like that, but it is a good move, a good young player that is going to start for you and is going to make an impact. And then behind him, you've got a linebacker now that's going to be able to flow to the football. So I like that these two pickups are in tandem. You've got a big D lineman that's going to eat space, and you've got a linebacker that's going to flow to the football once that D lineman eats up the offensive lineman up front. So it's a nice tandem signing of a quick, fast linebacker with a big beast of a defensive lineman. And I think those are two things that you need in the NFL nowadays. You need to be able to win in the run game with limited bodies, and you need to be able to have linebackers that can flow and can cover. And those are two things that Jacksonville got with these two signings. Oluokun and Fatu Kazi to the Jacksonville Jags. All right, those are the latest signings. We've got another one according to you guys, and I see it on Twitter now. What am I trying to find here? Laken Tomlinson. 3 years, $40 million. Maximum value of $41.2 million. Okay. Interesting. Tomlinson. 3 years. 40 mil. 27 guaranteed. All right. What do you guys think about that move? Julian says Duval. Yes. Jags making moves, baby. Jags are making moves. All right. Laken Tomlinson time. We ready? The New York Jets general manager Joe Douglas continues to upgrade and beef up the offensive line. This has been his first and foremost move of action throughout his tenure with the Jets. Make and create a better offensive line. Win the line of scrimmage, and that's absolutely what they do with this move. Laken Tomlinson signs with the New York Jets. 3 years, $40 million. 27 of it guaranteed for the Jets. So now you've got a very nice foundation of an offensive line. Left tackle, you got Becton. Monster. He'll be back next year. Elijah Vera Tucker, first round left guard. You've got your center re-signed in McDermott. And now right guard, you've got Laken Tomlinson, or at least some sort of mix in there of one of the guards on each side will be Elijah Vera Tucker and Laken Tomlinson, as far as I understand it. Right tackle is still a question for you. Maybe you move Elijah Vera Tucker to right tackle. But regardless of that, Laken Tomlinson is a very good football player and has been for quite some time. I also like that he stays in this system. So the Mike LaFleur system is basically a lesser version of the Kyle Shanahan offense, but it is at its core, zone-heavy running game. and it focuses a lot on offensive linemen that can move in space and can also play very good in play action. And I do think the Jets with Zach Wilson want to create this offense that can kind of formulate and emulate what Shanahan and McVay are doing so successfully in the NFC West. That's why they brought in Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur's brother, as the offensive coordinator. And I do think it's such a big deal to surround your young quarterback with a solid offensive line. And before you know it, the Jets will have a better than solid offensive line. They'll have a very good offensive line. I mean, 4 out of their 5 pieces are very good football players. I feel like the Jets' best way to succeed in the coming years is to continue to upgrade their line of scrimmage. They already have some beasts on the D-line. They have Carl Lawson. They've got Quinnen Williams. They've got John Franklin Myers. Offensive line is looking strong on the other side. This is a team that if Zach Wilson can develop in the next 2 years, they're going to be a lot better than people think because their O-line and D-line is going to give a lot of teams issues, and it's going to make them a very competitive football team Sunday in and Sunday out. So I absolutely love the philosophy here for the Jets. They continue to attack this philosophy. Tomlinson is a smart football player. He's been around, and he's very consistent. What I appreciate about this signing is the contract, the money isn't too ridiculous at all. 3 years, 27 guaranteed. Pretty much look at that as $9 million a year and $40 million for 3 years. Okay, that's a little bit more expensive, right? That's not exactly, but you never really know what those little details. But I do believe that Tomlinson has been not exactly an elite player at his position. I wouldn't call him like top 5 Pro Bowl, all pro caliber, but he's like that next level of player. He's like that right outside the Pro Bowl. You got Laken Tomlinson. So he's a very high-end starter for the New York Jets for the next 3 years while Zach Wilson is on this rookie contract. It's an absolutely perfect, no-nonsense move where you get I would consider him a little bit older, but he's going to be good for the next 3 years, and you've got him on the same path as Zach Wilson's rookie contract. So once that contract comes up, Zach Wilson's contract comes up, it's a perfect mesh organizationally, financially, makes a ton of sense to build that offensive line while Zach Wilson's on that rookie contract. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch how the Jets continue to upgrade this team around Zach Wilson, and Tomlinson is another great move for it. He'll be great in the run game. He'll be great in the pass game. Just a very good football player for this offensive line of the Jets and perfectly fits the offensive system. Jets continue to do a good job at just continuing to add to that line of scrimmage, and this is another instance of that. Laken Tomlinson, former Niner, to the New York Jets on a 3-year contract. All right. There we go, baby. It's another signing in the books. If you guys haven't already, make sure that you do Gronk spike the like button. If you haven't already, Gronk spike the notification bell and subscribe to the channel for more BLV just like this. Okay. More coffee. Did I miss a signing? Jesse says, curious your thoughts on Shaun Wade. I do think Shaun Wade can be good. I've always liked Shaun Wade, actually. I think he can compete for a job next year. I think they kind of got him at an awkward time last year, and it was difficult to put him in the lineup. But I do think he can compete for a job. He's talented. He fits the type of corner that works in New England, in my opinion. Marquise Valdez-Scantling is closing in on a deal with the 49ers. Lenny! You get a deep threat, Lenny, for Trey Daddy Lance. Jags are expected to target Steelers' Juju and Christian Kirk. Very interesting. Patriots' best offer to Ted Karras was 3 years, $15 million. So they did offer him. Supposedly, the Jets offered 3 firsts and 1 to 2 seconds and Zach Wilson for Watson. Wow, I would have taken that. The Browns offered 2 1s, 1 5th. I don't think that's true. Brian McFadden reported that. I don't think that's true, but we'll see. Marquise Valdes-Scantling gonna go to the Niners. It makes sense. He knows the offense. They do need a number 3 receiver. I prefer Chark over Valdez as well. Source on what? Which one? The fact Minshew to the Colts or the Seahawks? What do you think? I would love to see Minshew on the Colts. I think that's a better fit, but it would also be cool to see him in Seattle because he played in Washington. I'm not sure if he's from Washington, but he played in Washington, and that would be pretty cool from a fan's perspective. And I like Minshew a lot. I think he's an underrated quarterback. I would trade for him if I was a GM, given his contract's only $2.5 million this year. If I needed a starting quarterback, I would look to Minshew to be the guy. Now, the Colts, I think, are a better fit for him as a player. He's a quick, accurate passer, good decision maker that fits the offense to me. And I'd rather, if I was the Colts, I'd rather get him than trade for Jimmy for like a second or first round pick type thing. That's just my opinion. Source on MVS to the Niners. Hold on. It's not confirmed. Let me see. Tanner Pfeiffer. I think he's an intern for Josina Anderson. I just saw NFL Rumors retweeted it. He says, I'm told Marquise Valdes-Scantling is close to a deal with the Niners. We'll see soon. It's a rumor at this point. So yeah, it's not confirmed, but they're close apparently. So obviously it's probably down to the Niners and 1 or 2 other teams. But the fit makes sense to me. And they could use a little bit of speed on the perimeter, so it makes sense. Abraham says Brady is going to get traded to the Niners. We'll see. Steelers signed Mitch Trubisky. I wouldn't sign 2 veterans. I'd rather just draft one. I'd draft a guy and then, have Trubisky. That's what I would do. I think signing 2 guys is a bit much. If you guys haven't already, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. Appreciate everybody tuning in here live. If you are new, subscribe to the channel. Hawks re-signing Sidney Jones. Okay, that's a good move. I like what the Hawks are doing so far is re-signing their own players. I think they're re-signing the right players. Al Woods was a good re-signing. Sidney Jones, a good re-signing. Quandre Diggs, a good re-signing. All those players played at a very high level for them last year. Some of their best players last year. Where is Minshew going? If I had to guess, I would say the Colts. Several Patriots players are recruiting Allen Robinson, says NFL Rumors. So it looks like Allen Robinson has quite a big market here. Badass says, I doubt Tampa Bay would trade Tom Brady. BA wants like 5 first-round picks. Blixer, I believe is how you say your name. Where is Gilmore going to go? I'm going to say the Niners. I could see the Bucks. I could see the Seahawks. I could see a lot of teams. Bengals, Chargers. But those are the primary ones. Will Brady be traded to San Fran? Probably not. I wish he was, but probably not. I'd be happy with him just playing, to be honest. Julian says, Robinson, come home to Duval. Will Philly sign anyone? Yes, they will. They haven't yet, though. Hold on, guys. I'm going to post the TikTok link into the chat so you guys can follow. Because I'm starting to do TikTok now because I'm a cool guy like that, right? So let me... Actually, my last TikTok about Tom Brady has over 1,000 views. That's pretty cool. Hold on. How do I even get a link on this stupid thing? Okay. What's up, Boston sports fan? How you doing, bro? Any news on JC? Nothing. Haven't heard anything. Gilmore to the Bills? Doubtful. All right. Any news on Seattle? Yes. They re-signed Al Woods. They re-signed Quandre Diggs. They re-signed Sidney Jones. I'm good, man. Having fun so far. Any news on the Bengals? Tons, Sean. Tons. They signed 2 players. We talked about it earlier. I'll release videos later on. But Alex Kappa from the Bucks, guard, 4 years, $40 million. And then they also signed Patriots guard / center Ted Karras, 3 years, $18 million. So they signed 2 offensive linemen for Joe Burrow today. The Titans have re-signed Ben Jones, center. Interesting. I thought he was going to leave, but that's a good move for the Titans. He's a good player. They keep him around for 2 years. Any news on the Broncos? No, I haven't seen anything. Is Mitch good for Pittsburgh? I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I do think it's a good, at the very least, it's a good bridge option for the Steelers. He's, I think, underrated, honestly. Like, he's got talent. I think it was a bad situation in Chicago. I am a little bit nervous about Pittsburgh's ability to coach quarterbacks, so that does make me a little bit worried, but I think Trubisky is like the guy I would have targeted of this free agency class because he's still young. He's still got potential. In a new situation, he could be better. And I'd rather have him than some of the guys that we already know what they are, so to speak. So I think Trubisky, and plus he's been in the playoffs twice out of like 4 seasons he's played in with a good defense. And that's kind of what Pittsburgh has. So I think he's a decent signing. As long as the money wasn't too wild. I didn't get to see the money, but it was a 2-year contract. I don't think it was too crazy, the money. So I think it's a pretty good signing, to be honest with you. Joshua says, do you think Amari makes Cleveland go over the top? No, I think Cleveland might make the playoffs, but I need to see better from Baker Mayfield. Will the 49ers even get into free agency? Rumor is that they might be signing Marquez Valdez-Scantling, wide receiver from the Packers. Seb says Chandler Jones to the Bills. I have not seen that yet, but maybe you're just saying that. I don't know. Thoughts on Larry Ogunjobi? Talked about it a little bit earlier. I think it's a risky signing to me. Good player, fits the system, good pass rusher, a little bit inconsistent, a lot of money, but fits Eberflus's system well, and is definitely a player with Akeem Hicks and Nichols and Goldman all leaving. I think it's a solid signing. I'm not the biggest Larry Ogunjobi fan. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. So it's a solid signing. It makes sense. I just don't know if I would have made that signing, if that makes sense. You think the Ravens are getting a wide receiver out of free agency? Maybe a smaller name, or like Antonio Brown, I don't know. But I don't think they're going to get a big name. Landry to Washington, I doubt it. I think he'll probably go one of the contending teams. Like, I think the Chiefs make a lot of sense. But that's just me. Matthew Slater re-signed for 1 year, $2.6 million. Slater is back as a Patriot. Would you trade for thoughts on Justin Reed? What does that mean? Would I trade for Justin Reed, or my thoughts on Justin Reed? My thoughts on Justin Reed is that he's a very good player. I think I really like him as a free safety. I think he's got a lot of versatility. Very good in terms of his range. Fast. Good ability to read the ball. And just overall, I think he's kind of been in a tough situation. I think on a better team, a better defense, he would be a better player. But I think he's a standout on what otherwise is not a very good defense. Do I think Denver has what it takes to be the number one team in the NFC or the AFC West? Sorry. Oh man, they can. I won't rule it out, but it's tough to say that they're better than the Chiefs or the Chargers. I think they're talented, and I like Russell Wilson a lot, but I'm not exactly 100% confident in the coaching staff in their first season, and I do think there are more holes on the team than people realize. So I think they're going to be a playoff team. I'm not sure they're a contender, though. We'll have to see what they do in free agency in the draft. Clicky says, when do you think Chandler Jones will sign? I personally want Denver to pick him up. Probably the next couple of days, within today, and like I could see him signing before like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday-ish, like somewhere in there this week. Martin says, any Rams departures or re-signings yet? Noteboom re-signed. Joseph Noteboom. That's it, though. Options at edge for the Cardinals to replace Chandler Jones. Oh, my bad. Knocked the mic off. Damn. Okay. Options at edge. Who could work? It depends, because they're not in the best cap situation. Who's somebody that could help? They obviously moved on from Hassan Reddick. Von Miller is still there. Who's somebody that would fit their system? Somebody a little bit lower key, I think, is a guy like Lorenzo Carter from the Giants. He's not a big name, but I think he would fit their defense. Who else? I'd have to look at the edge position. Let me see if I have any notes here. Edge guys. Jacob Martin from the Texans is underrated. Dorrance Armstrong from the Cowboys, another underrated, like kind of lower key. I'm looking at like the lower names. He's kind of built like Chandler Jones. He's obviously not as good, but he's young and he's got like the length of Chandler Jones. Yeah, those are some kind of low key, probably cheap names that you could go for. The Jets are re-signing Braxton Berrios. 2 years, $12 million, $7 million guaranteed. Good move for the Jets. I like Braxton Berrios. Free agents still out there, by the way. J.C. Jackson, Teron Armstead, Chandler Jones, Vaughn Miller, Carlton Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus Williams, Allen Robinson, and Stephon Gilmore. Is Tyrann Mathieu a free agent? Tyrann Mathieu is a free agent, yes. What teams are most excited to see make big moves during free agency? We've already seen the Chargers. The Bengals have already made some, but those two teams come to mind. Obviously, my team is the Patriots, so I'd love to see them make some moves, but I don't think they're going to make that many. I'm intrigued to see what Tampa does with Brady back. Who else? So just some of the AFC teams, because the AFC is so competitive. Ertz is staying in Arizona. Do I think that N'Keal Harry will ever turn out? And where do you think he can flourish in a system? I don't think he's very good. I don't think he's ever going to be anything. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like a dick or whatever, but I just don't think N'Keal Harry is ever going to be good. I'm sorry. Could he be a depth receiver? Yeah. I just don't think he's very good. Chark to the Patriots. I'd like that as well. I wanted New England to sign Berrios, but he's back with the Jets on a 2-year, $12 million. The Eagles and Justin Reed. Yeah, that'd be a good move. That makes sense. Sarah says, what do my Colts do? The Colts haven't done anything yet. We'll see, though. Jay says, Bill's going after Chandler Jones and trying to sign Juju. Interesting. I wonder if they're trying to move on from Beasley. Dawn says Tyrann to the Raiders. Sources say 2-year deal. I have not seen that yet. That would be interesting, though. None of the big wigs have said that yet. How do I feel about Juju to the Eagles? I think that makes sense. They need a short to intermediate receiver that can get open for Jalen Hurts or whoever the quarterback's going to be in the future. And somebody that can complement Devontae Smith. So I think Juju to the Eagles makes sense fit-wise. Do I think Juju wants to go there? I don't think it's at the top of his list, but I think he would sign there if he was given the right contract. Allen Robinson and DJ Chark, good Raiders fit. Both are good Raiders fits. I think Allen Robinson is a better fit. He's a better player. Chark adds more speed, but Allen Robinson is more well-rounded, refined route runner. But what the Raiders probably need more than that, they already got Hunter Renfrow, who is one of the best route runners in the NFL. They need a speed guy. So DJ Chark does make some sense there. Yeah. McDaniels has had success with that type of guy before. But he does have more success with guys like Allen Robinson, I would say. Ewish says Honey Badger should reunite with Bruce Arians. I think if Whitehead leaves, that makes a lot of sense. And I think Matthew would probably love to play for the Bucs. I think it would be a good signing as well. They could use him a lot. He would be great for their nickel position. I think that would be awesome. Actually, thinking about it now, I think that would actually be perfect because they need to upgrade their nickel spot, and he can play in the nickel, and then you can have Mike Edwards and Antoine Winfield Jr. as your safeties. That would be great, and Dean and whoever else on the outside if they get Davis back. Christian Kirk to the Bears. I think it's a good fit. There are rumors that could happen, but I don't think there's nothing yet. Is Von Miller staying with the Rams, or is he going back to Denver? He's probably not staying with the Rams. I think he's going to be too pricey. I think it's more likely that he goes to Denver. Martin says, do you think Von signs with the Rams or goes back to Denver? I don't think he goes anywhere else unless it's a massive contract. I do think there's a chance he could go other places. I do think he's going to get a decent contract, though. I think a lot of teams are going to be impressed with what he did in the playoffs. And I think especially teams that already have a good pass rusher on their team and they can add Von Miller as like the second guy like the Rams did, it's going to be worthwhile for them. Kobe says, what do you think about JC to the Chargers? It hasn't happened yet. It's probably the most likely destination for JC Jackson. I think it's a good fit. He's an excellent player. I love the guy. He's good in every sort of coverage, man, zone. He's a ball hawk, as you know, Mr. INT. He's good in press coverage. Doesn't get beat deep. He's an awesome player. He's one of the best corners in the NFL. He's probably top 3. And yeah, he's a great fit. I mean, Brandon Staley knows how to use number 1 corners, and that can give their defense a lot of flexibility with what they do in their coverage. So giving a creative coach like that a very good corner is only going to make them a lot better. So yeah. You think the Browns should trade for Watson? If they can, yeah, I would. I don't know how I would feel as a fan cheering for Watson. That's a different discussion. But as a football player, he is worth it, and he's a lot better than Baker. So Nathan says, since Brady is back, what positions do you see the Bucs targeting in the draft? Well, first, Nathan, we got to see what they do in free agency. And then once we see what they do in free agency, we can see what they do in the draft. In the draft, I wouldn't be surprised if they target receiver in one of the rounds. But I think they could go interior offensive line now that they lost Alex Kappa and Ali Marpet. So they need a guard. So that could happen. And I could also see corner as well. Jesse says, wouldn't it be more fitting for Brady to announce his comeback on March 28th? No, it's more fitting now. I understand what you're saying, but it's more fitting now so that the Bucs know what they're doing in free agency. You wish. Thank you so much for the $10, brother. You're the man. He says, here's a donation for your hard work. Keep it up. Go Bucs. Thank you. Gamer says, where do you think JC goes? I've been saying I think it's the Chargers, but he could go to the Raiders and he could go to the Bengals as well. Any word on the Colts quarterback situation? I've heard Garoppolo and I've heard Minshew. Those are probably the two most likely players. How do you feel about Tyron as a Raven? Yeah, I think he makes sense. Versatility, he's tough, he's smart. Yeah, I think he makes sense as a Baltimore Raven. I'm not sure how they're changing their defense without Don Martindale there. Like, they're changing their coordinator this year, so there might be slightly different look there in terms of the scheme. But yeah, he's still really good, and he can play strong safety, free safety, nickel. They need an upgrade at safety, so I think it would be a good signing. Nothing recently, guys. Don says, What do you think about the Devontae Adams situation? Seems he wants to play for the Raiders. He's going to play for the Packers. They just got to figure out the contract. He's already franchised, I believe, with Green Bay, but he's not going to play on the franchise tag. And I think with Aaron Rodgers back, he'll try to work something out. It would be pretty shocking to me if he didn't play for the Packers. What else we got? DK to Philly for a first rounder. I wouldn't do that if I was Seattle. Bus wants Gilmore to Pittsburgh. Any chance the Eagles make a big signing? It depends what you think big is. But I don't think they're going to sign one of the premier free agents. Seattle could trade for Watson if they wanted, but I haven't seen any news regarding that in a while. I think the Patriots are one of the teams in on Allen Robinson, but I haven't seen them strongly connected to him. I've only seen, I think the latest report I saw was Detroit and Jacksonville were the two most heavily in on Allen Robinson. Eric says, do you think J.C. Jackson to Pittsburgh? I don't think so. I doubt it. It makes sense. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, we got a signing. Another one for Jacksonville. Are you serious? Okay, let's see. The Jaguars are not done. They are expected to sign former Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Christian Kirk to a large deal. Wow. Jacksonville making moves. So I guess that takes them off of Allen Robinson. Christian Kirk to the Jags. Any Raiders news? Says unanimous. No, nothing yet. Joshua says, quick question before I subscribe to your channel. Are you a Broncos fan? No, sir. You might be upset, but that is my team right there. Can you see the logo? You might be upset with me, but hey, is what it is. Appreciate you tuning in. And hopefully you do subscribe. I cover all 32 teams, though. I don't just cover my team. Jesse says Jarvis Landry to the Bucks. Could happen. I've said this earlier. I don't love it. But as a number 3 receiver, I think he would be a good number 3. Okay, I'm waiting for the money for Christian Kirk to see if that comes through, because I think it could be a lot of money. So I'm just going to wait for a couple seconds. Any Bears news? Yes, they signed Larry Ogunjobi, defensive lineman of the Bengals, to a 3-year, $40.5 million. I think most of them, Chris, have already been released. I don't think there's going to be that many more. The Jets signed... They didn't sign Kappa. They signed Tomlinson, guard from the Niners. What's J.C. Jackson's number? I don't know, bro. Oh, contract. He hasn't signed yet. Are the Colts still sitting on their hands? Yes. Matthew says, any Patriots news? There's rumors, no news. They did re-sign Matthew Slater, and they re-signed Devin McCourty yesterday. They re-signed their leaders. Can I see Juju signing with the Bears? Maybe. I wouldn't say no. I think they're in on other receivers, though, more so than Juju. Okay, let's see if that Christian Kirk contract is in. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to grok spike that like button and subscribe to the channel for more NFL free agency, breaking it down every free agency move. So make sure to subscribe. Also, I pinned the TikTok at the top of the comment section. If you guys want to follow TikTok as well, I'll be making videos on there as well. Thoughts on Melvin Gordon to the Bucs? That makes sense. I think they'd rather have Lenny back, though. Okay, former Titans guard Roger Saffold is signing in Buffalo. That's actually a really good move. Let's see. I'm not sure what the money is yet, but that's a good move by the Bills. The Jags today have signed Christian Kirk, Brandon Scherff, Foley Fatukazi, and Aluakon. The Eagles are signing Hassan Reddick. $3 years, $45 million, $30 guaranteed. Holy. Okay, guys, we got some signings to break down. I guess Christian Kirk I'm going to wait on. I'm going to go with Hassan Reddick because we know the numbers there. So I'm going to go with Hassan Reddick. All right. The Philadelphia Eagles. They love their pass rushers. They love their defensive linemen. They have a new one in Hassan Reddick, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. Hassan Reddick is a hybrid edge outside linebacker type that is going to provide a boost of speed and athleticism to the front seven of Philadelphia. A position and a group that is a little bit on the older side for the Eagles is going to get a little bit younger, and Hassan Reddick over the last couple of years has developed into one of the NFL's more consistent edge rushers. He is more of a finesse speed rusher more than a power rusher, and he complements what the Eagles already have quite well there in the mix. Now, typically he has played in, I would call, different defenses than what the Philadelphia Eagles are running under Gannon, but I don't think that's going to be much of a problem for Hassan Reddick. He's a talented edge rusher that can get to the quarterback. His game isn't exactly the most well-rounded against the run. He's a little bit on the smaller end, so he's not going to hold up all the time to set the edge. He is more of a pin your ears back and get to the quarterback type, which is exactly what the Eagles are looking for from their edge rushers. You know, the big guys in the middle and their linebackers, they're going to deal with the run. Reddick is going to get to the quarterback. That's his job. That's his responsibility. That's what he's going to do. Because of his size, he can be, overpowered in the running game a little bit, but as a pass rusher, you're getting one of the very best at his position. And there's no doubt about it. 10 plus sacks the last couple of years. Very good as a blitzer as well. You can move him around. And because of his athleticism, he can do a lot of different things. So you can send him on blitzes, from the inside, the outside. You can have him just line up and rush from the outside. You can have him drop back into coverage occasionally. He's good at that as well because he's athletic enough. He has history of being a linebacker. So he can really play a lot of different positions and do a lot of different things. But what he's very good at and what he's best at is just getting to the quarterback off the edge, using his burst and speed off the ball and getting around the corner, turning the edge, dipping, and getting to the quarterback. That's what he does. It's not too crazy. He's really good at that. But the contract is 3 years, $45 million, 30 of it guaranteed. You knew that a player like this with this production over the last couple of years was going to get paid. $30 million guaranteed, 3 years. That's a pretty good deal, in my opinion, for this type of player. Would I consider him an elite player at his position? Not necessarily, but I think he's probably in tier 2, because he does have a little bit of, the weakness against the run. I do think that, he's not quite the upper echelon of this position, but he's close. And he certainly has numbers and the pass rush numbers to definitely qualify as one of the better pass rushers in the game. So, like I said, the Eagles, they love to address their defensive line. They understand the importance of pass rush in the modern NFL. They won a Super Bowl based on their pass rush in the past in 2017. And they're continuing to go back to their roots and continuing to add to this defensive line. It's going to be intriguing because we've heard Fletcher Cox, his name floated out there for other teams potentially departing. Brandon Graham's coming off a serious injury. So adding a younger player that can get to the quarterback is absolutely huge for the Eagles. Hassan Reddick is going to be a versatile chess piece of an edge rusher that's going to get to the quarterback for Philadelphia for the next few seasons. And I'm intrigued to see how the Eagles continue to build this defense under this coaching regime. Hassan Reddick to the Eagles, 3 years, 30 guaranteed, $45 million. Hassan Reddick is an Eagle. All right, so that's last one. Then we got Roger Saffold to the Bills. Did the money come out? BJ Hill re-signed with the Bengals, 3 years, $30 million. Saffold's deal is a 2-year deal. I don't see any money though, but I'll just break that down. Okay. If you guys haven't already, Gronk spiked the like button. We're going to talk about Roger Saffold now. How old is Roger Saffold? Like 30, 35? $33. He's turning 34. Okay. The Buffalo Bills entering free agency, one of their more under-the-radar upgrades that was needed was on the interior of their offensive line. They are taking from the Titans, a team that has beaten them over the last couple of years. They're taking one of their primary assets on the offensive line, Roger Saffold, who was released from the Titans due to their cap restrictions. He finds a new home with the Buffalo Bills. Now, Roger Saffold is a little bit on the older side. He's going to be 34 before the season begins. But a 2-year contract for Saffold is absolutely perfect. Chef's kiss for Roger Saffold in Buffalo. Why? Because he's still very good. Even though he's 34, we've seen some offensive linemen play a little bit older in today's day and age in the NFL. What I love about this move is it secures a very nice offensive line for Josh Allen. At least it upgrades the interior protection for Josh Allen, which has been a weakness for them over the last couple of years. Now, you can get away with Josh Allen of having one weaker tackle, in my opinion, because he's so elusive. He's so hard to take down, and he can see the pressure coming from the edge. But when the pressure comes up the middle for Josh Allen, it's much more difficult to get around and to maneuver. So having Roger Saffold in there, Mitch Morse is back. That's an offensive line on the interior that's going to be secure and is going to be able to protect your quarterback. Arguably the best in the NFL. Now, what Saffold's also very good at is run blocking. We've seen that in Tennessee, where he's been one of the best guards in the NFL with the Titans, especially in run blocking. So it brings a veteran who's tough, who's physical, who brings a little bit of an edge to this offense and this offensive line, something that they have needed. It's something that's been missing. And I believe that Saffold is not just going to change how the pass protection operates, but also give that extra boost of edge to their running game that I think they just haven't had. They haven't had that just get in your face and out physical you and outpower you and just be a bigger man and just outwill you. And that's what Roger Saffold is going to be able to do for the Bills. Technically strong, still is physically at a nice level for Buffalo. But what I like about it is his obvious, well-rounded game. He's very smart. He's very experienced. He's been there. He's done that. And he's a perfect fit for a team that's trying to win a Super Bowl. Now, if this was a move that was made by a team that was still in development, that was rebuilding, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But for a team like Buffalo that's in that Super Bowl window, a 2-year contract for a player such as Roger Saffold, who's still a upper half guard in the NFL, it's a perfect move for a team that needed a little bit of insurance on the offensive line. So Roger Saffold to the Buffalo Bills upgrades the run game, makes them tougher, and helps Josh Allen. It's what you want if you're a Bills fan. Okay, Roger Saffold, done. What else we got here? Terrence Brooks. The Texans, okay. He was already on the Texans. Re-signed. Texans making moves, bro. Any word on Note Boom? Note Boom re-signed with the Rams. Okay, let's talk about Christian Kirk. I still haven't got the contract yet. If anybody knows the contract, let me know. Just checking Twitter. Okay. Let's talk about Christian Kirk, shall we? Christian Kirk to the Jags. Jacksonville continues to make moves. They're adding to their defensive front seven. They're adding to their offensive line. And now they have a big-time wide receiver to add to their receiving core. Christian Kirk of the Arizona Cardinals is a younger player on the market. He's about 25, 26 years old. And Christian Kirk is not an elite weapon for this offense, but one that's going to have versatility to play in the slot and on the perimeter. He has vertical element to his game to stretch the field and make plays for Trevor Lawrence down the field, but he's also a crisp, intermediate, short route runner. So he has a nice, well-rounded football game of being able to create separation with his routes, but also stretch a defense with his speed. Kirk is really hitting his stride now. Last year was his best season of his career, nearly hitting 1,000 yards. Now in Jacksonville, he might even become the number one target for Trevor Lawrence. He's a nice slot receiver because he also can stretch a defense down the field, which is rare for that position. Usually you think of the slot receivers, which is where he played most of his snaps in Arizona, was in the slot. Usually you think of those guys as quicker, shorter receivers who don't really have a ton of speed. Well, Kirk kind of has a little bit of both. That makes him a tough dimension to handle for a lot of defenses out there. He's better as a complement to a true number one receiver, but he is a very nice addition to an offense that needed receiving options for their young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. So Christian Kirk, just hitting his stride as a young receiver, fits this offense quite well for Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence. And I just love what the Jags are doing here. They're going out, they're spending money. But what I like about it is they're spending money on good football players. You know, this isn't just spending money to spend money on lower tier names. These are good football players that are going to instantly upgrade your team on both sides of the football. So maybe they still need to find a true number one for Trevor Lawrence, but Christian Kirk can come in and be a nice number two, or definitely number two, but even better would be a high-end number three. But Kirk is really, really, really good at this stage. I think he's only getting better. And the only thing I will say is I just wouldn't enter the season with him as your number one. That's the only thing I would say about it. So in this day and age in the NFL, you need lots of targets. You need lots of receiving options. The more, the better. You got to build the depth chart up, and you got to find different receivers, different playmakers. And Kirk is one that's going to help Trevor Lawrence. He needs more options to throw the ball to, and Kirk definitely adds a solution to that problem. I think this is a nice signing. I'm not exactly sure at this point in time what the money is, but I think that the Jags have made a nice move in adding a young receiver with a young quarterback on a young roster. All those things add up and make sense for Jacksonville. Okay. Christian Kirk, done. Austin Corbett, nothing. Nothing on Austin Corbett yet. There is a report here. We've heard Fletcher Cox and Gardner Minshew trade rumors so far. Interesting for the Eagles. Checking Twitter. All right. BJ Hill re-signed with the Bengals. Okay. You guys got any questions? Let me know. If you guys haven't already, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes, guys. We have 263 people in here, which I appreciate so much. Thank you for joining. Gronk spike that like button. Get 100 likes before 3 Eastern. Let's try to do that. We got 6 minutes. 100 likes. Let's go. Gronk spike that like button. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Trubisky to the Steelers. Yup. I talked about that earlier, but I think it's interesting. I think I'm a bigger fan of Trubisky than I think a lot of people are. I think he's still got potential, like I said, in a new situation, different coaching staff. I think he developed quite a bit with the Bills. So I think this is a wise move by the Steelers. You know, as long as it's not too much money. I haven't seen how much money it is. Pair him with maybe a younger quarterback and let them fight for the job and see what happens. But Trubisky's won games in this league. I think he can do that with the Steelers too. Michael says, who's the Panthers receiver the Patriots were interested in? Oh, Robbie Anderson. Haven't heard anything on that front. Thank you guys for the likes. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'd assume Gronk will stay with Tampa. I would be shocked if he signed anywhere else. Hassan Reddick to Philly, yup. Edmonds to the Dolphins, yup. If you guys want me to recap the signings, I'll do that right now. So we got Alex Kappa to the Bengals, Chase Edmonds to the Dolphins, Mitch Trubisky to the Steelers, Larry Ogunjobi to the Bears, Brandon Scherff to Jacksonville, Ted Karras to the Bengals, Foley Fatukazi to Jacksonville, Aluakon to Jacksonville, Laken Tomlinson to the Jets, Christian Kirk to Jacksonville, Roger Saffold to the Bills, Hassan Reddick to the Eagles. Those are the signings so far. Thoughts on Dante Pettis? Depth receiver, adds punt return value. He's got good speed. Yeah, like a number 4, number 5 receiver. Nothing too crazy. Thoughts on Devontae Adams? What about him? Staying in Green Bay. Not going anywhere. They'll sign him. Jags have made a lot of moves. Any chance J.C. Jackson signs with the Rams? Negative 100,000. No, I'm just kidding. Not negative, but very, very, very unlikely. The Rams have like next to no money, and I don't know how they're going to afford him. The Jags are not in win now mode. They're just trying to get better. They literally were the worst team in the NFL last year, guys. I don't think it's going to take a first to get Saquon in a trade. Not a running back. It's not going to take that much. Evan Ingram to the Colts. Yeah, I saw that as well. I actually predicted that as a fit, which would make me happy because I don't think anyone else predicted that. But that would be very interesting. Yeah, Bus Boy, keep it running. Yeah, he wouldn't play on the franchise tag. They'll sign him long term, I think. Bus, you should start making some TikToks for BLV, bro. Maybe a 3-way trade, Carr to the Colts and Deshaun to the Raiders. I don't think Carr's going to get traded, man. Who'll be the most expensive free agent? Probably Jackson. Jackson? Yeah, Jackson. Yeah, Jackson to the Chargers or the Raiders. I could see the Bengals. Bus doesn't want to make TikToks. Poor guy. Christian Kirk is definitely getting paid by the Jaguars. I've heard it could be as much as $17 million per year, says Kyle. Kyle Odegaard? Odegaard? Do you see Tyrann Mathieu going to the Commanders? Probably not. Wouldn't rule it out, but I doubt it. Sam says Marcus Williams to the Eagles. That could happen. Make a TikTok? I mean, I could. I gotta get my phone, though. My phone's right here. I could try. Let's see. I got my little holder here. The only problem is I'm using my phone for my Twitter machine. You know what I did with my last TikTok bus? I actually recorded the audio from this microphone on the computer, and then I recorded the video on my my phone. And then I just connected them on Premiere. So I could do one though. I just have to use the phone audio instead. Are there any restricted type free agents that will get an offer sheet? Probably not. When a team tenders a guy to a second round tender, usually that's like it's a rule. It's an unwritten rule in the NFL that you don't bid on the guy, sort of thing. It's kind of weird, but it's the way it is. Toxic says, wish the Vikings would do something. Any news on the Chargers? No news on the Chargers. Bobby Wag to Dallas. It makes sense. Dallas got to work on those contracts, though. Burger Does Sports says Chandler Jones to the Broncos. Since this draft has so many pass rushers, will it affect free agency numbers at DN? Probably not. Yeah, it's kind of slow. I could make some TikToks. I could write down the time and then... Which one should I do? Trubisky? I gotta do Trubisky. Sign in here. Hold on. I gotta figure this out. How's that look? Okay. Roll with a Mitch Trubisky TikTok. Let's go. Mitchell Trubisky is the new Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback of choice. Signing a 2-year contract with the Steelers is Mitch Trubisky. The former Chicago Bears second overall pick in the 2017 NFL Draft has a new chance to become a starting quarterback. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of Mitch Trubisky than many other people. I think he has upside. I think he has talent. He's got an arm. He's got legs to move around and make plays. And I think he's developed and grown with the Buffalo Bills. I think this is actually low-key a pretty good move for the Pittsburgh Steelers as a bridge option. Am I saying that he is going to be the next great quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Terry Bradshaw, Ben Roethlisberger? No, but he's going to be an option for the short term, and he's got lots of potential to grow. Trubisky to the Steelers. All right, there's a TikTok for you. All right. Let's see how it sounds. Should I throw it up? You know what I could do, Buzz? I could probably throw it up as a draft and you could edit it maybe. I've actually got to go soon, though, because I did promise a guy that I'm going to be live on his radio show. So I got to probably go in like 15 minutes. I'm doing a radio show for my buddy. But I might come back later tonight. Should make an animated graphic for an outro. Send me some examples. What do you think of the Batman movie? I loved it, bro. It's one of my favorite movies I've seen in a long time. Obviously, I'm a huge Batman fan, but yeah, it's the detective Batman, dark. I mean, Rob was great. Loved it. I gotta do it, bro. I'm doing it for my friend. Come on, man. Don't be like that, bro. What do you think of the Jets free agency so far? I like the signing Tomlinson and then re-signing Berrios. That's solid. Christian Kirk's deal is gigantic. $68 million. Holy smokes. 4 years, $17 million per year. Yeah, it was a little bit of an overpay there for Christian Kirk. For sure. I think he's good, but I don't think he's worth that much. Thank you, C.S. Wilson. Appreciate that, man. Holy overpay, Batman. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me check. Oh, it cut it off a little bit. Okay, guys, so I think I'm going to go in about 5 minutes. So if you guys have any final questions, let me know. And I'll be probably live later tonight as well. If anything crazy happens. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe, because I'm going to be releasing all of the little videos that I do within this live stream. I'm going to be releasing all those videos. Or at least the notable ones, at least. Also follow TikTok. Links on the pinned comment. Check it out. Yo, is Bus in here? Okay, I could do that. Yo, Bus, are you still in here? Where are these free agents going? Says FSE. Marcus Williams, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May. Marcus Williams, let's go with the Lions. Tyrann Mathieu, let's go with the Chiefs. Marcus May, let's go with the Eagles. Just guessing. I talked about Hassan Reddick. Yeah, that's a crazy move. Good move. No news on JC. Will Washington get a linebacker in free agency or the draft? I think they'll get one in both, actually. Is Howie Roseman done? Nah, not yet. All right, guys. I am going to end it for now here. I'll be back tomorrow for sure to break down tomorrow's signings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Going to be releasing those little breakdowns. And then I might be live tonight as well if we have enough to discuss. And then I'll break them all down in a live stream tonight as well. All the signings that go down today that I missed. So thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate you. And we will be back. See you in the next live stream or the next video. Enjoy NFL free agency. Peace.